Hello everyone, thanks for stopping by and welcome to the Wasabi Aquarium channel. In this episode, I'll show you how to prevent and eradicate pest snails. This tutorial is applicable to those impacted that have either nature or tropical aquariums. Unwelcome snail outbreaks are always the cause of headaches. You are bound to have experienced a snail outbreak at least once in the hobby. Beginners to the hobby are often cautioned of pest snails. It's all about the preventative measures of troublesome snails infiltrating the aquarium. Let's talk in detail of the pest snail prevention and countermeasures. Snail outbreaks are an entirely separate ballpark when it comes to aquarium issues. The reality of pest snails is that they are indirectly beneficial. They eat fish waste, detritus, decaying organics, and other plant matter. Pest snails will also clean up algae on the glass and the plants. So there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't mind the eggs and snails everywhere, just keep them as is. But on the other hand, it's completely unpleasant as they lay eggs on all surfaces of the aquarium. If this bugs you, then please continue watching this video till the end. Let's dive into the main subject. Avoid introducing snails into the aquarium. There are 3 simple points that you should follow. First point is trying to avoid infiltration. The second, maintaining proper environments, and third, extermination. Let's talk about these 3 points in order. The first point is try your best to avoid introducing eggs or snails to the aquarium. It is a very important point. If you ever let your guard down, it may become more troublesome later. I just don't want to have snails in my tank. What should I do? No matter what I do, the snail population is the same, and I want to safely exterminate the snails. These are the most commonly asked questions from our customers. Sometimes it can't be helped, especially if you're using plants that aren't tissue cultures. All it takes is just a few eggs on the plants to be introduced to your aquarium. Doing so, you have unwillingly introduced snails this way, and this is the number 1 cause. Plants that aren't tissue cultures are typically cultivated submersed with the presence of pest snails. That's why I'm very cautious of pest snails. It's best to start using a brand new aquarium and not recycling any aquarium equipment, including aquarium plants, to avoid introducing snails. Pest snails are prolific breeders, and they are easily transported one place to another. For example, they may even come with a newly purchased fish or shrimp. Always exciting to have new livestock, but there's a high possibility that there are snails in the same bag. Depending on the species, snails are small and could be in the larvae form, tiny, almost invisible to the naked eye. Some snail species are free-floating in their larvae stages, which are scooped along with the fish. Sometimes they can even attach to the shrimp's body. This is extremely troublesome to all aquarium keepers. We will talk later on how to get rid of them. Troublesome, especially if they're attached to the livestock. Also, whilst netting livestock out, snails may also attach themselves to the net. It may seem impossible to eradicate 100% of the snails in an outbreak, so it's highly recommended that you take preventative measures as priority. Baby or larvae form snails are very tiny, so they are very difficult to see. Mission Impossible. Hey, if you enjoy nature aquariums, I recommend tissue culture plants only. This is the best method to prevent introduction of pest snails. That way, you may enjoy your nature aquarium with the livestock you intended to have, but it's not 100% foolproof, as there is still a risk of snail infestation by other means, such as adding livestock, reused aquarium equipment, or infected tools. I've linked some other important videos, products, and tools in the description box below. Check it out after the video. Also see an egg removal tool to reduce the amount of snail eggs on the glass. It's very difficult to manually remove snail eggs from the glass. An excellent tool because you can reduce the risk considerably just by removing the eggs from the glass. If you want to cancel the risk of snail infestation entirely, you should use snail treatments. Typically, nothing else is affected except for the snails, so I think it's okay. Next, the second point on creating an ideal environment. Some aquariums will have more decaying organic matter than others. Super buffet for the snails. The suitable environmental factor for snails is stable water parameters. Alkaline water conditions and detritus suspended in the water are the two environmental factors that snails love. Typical pest snails prefer warmer temperatures and slightly alkaline waters, perfect conditions for them to spawn. Coupled with the additional dirty water, you have the perfect snail hotel. If you ever feed your aquarium, the food will settle and rot, giving the snails an unlimited buffet. They will rapidly grow bigger and rapidly spawn. This equals more eggs all over the aquarium, resulting in more snails, a very frustrating position to be in. Therefore, in order to create a safe environment, target your water conditions towards neutral or weakly acidic. Good biological filtration equals pristine waters. If you follow these two steps, you'll keep your aquarium clean and sustain the snail population. Difficulty in nature aquariums is that the various hardscapes leach out different minerals, such as cerastone. For example, we've used a lot of cerastone leaching calcium. As you know, calcium buffers the water to become more alkaline. That just means that it's more challenging in this scenario to lower the water conditions to become weakly acidic. To control the snail population, it is necessary to have the measures in place to ensure that the water conditions don't go beyond what's intended. In this scenario, you can add driftwood or add some chemical component into the filtration system. By doing so, I hope your snail population will sustain or reduce, as it will be more difficult for the snails to get the nutrients required. I've posted a few know-how videos on maintenance and water conditions. Check them out when you're done. You'll learn how to maintain aquariums, as well as prevent and resolve algae issues. Next, third point, prevention and extermination. This part covers the bulk of this video. What should I do about the snail infestation? The safest way is to use other livestock to control the snail population without harming anything else in your aquarium. Let's do a deep dive on what I mean. In terms of easiness and safety, this is it. Therefore, I think it's best to add fish that have an appetite for snails. So what kind of fish will eat snails? Perhaps you've already guessed which type of species of fish I'm referring to. It's the dwarf pufferfish. They are little and round and very cute looking. And yes, they do have happy looking faces. I absolutely adore them. But sadly, I personally can't use them. It's in the pufferfish's temperament to be biting the fins of other fish and taking their crosshairs to the shrimps. The various problems, such as biting and eating other tank mates, means that they must be alone as one species tank. Overall, they're great looking and outstanding on snail control. It's just a pity that I can't use them in any of my tanks. So, what's the alternative fish? I recommend Bardus bardus, otherwise known as the blue perch. They are peaceful and sport an outstanding ability to annihilate pest snails. I use them here in our store. The blue perch are usually hiders, so you can barely see any swimming around. They've done a very good job here, as they are docile and they pair well in a community tank. If your livestock, such as the Taiwan bee shrimp, fits in the fish's mouth, then it will be eaten. On the other hand, if it's a proper size Amana shrimp, then they will be totally fine together. The blue perch is my type of fish. It's alluring and it may sport a nice deep blue colour. The blue colours feather out to its fins. It's quite a mesmerising fish to keep. Its movement is cute. Hey, it hovers similar to the betta-fish. You'll hover after finding something to eat, and then launches for its meal. It's a perfect fish to prevent and control pest snails, but there's a catch. The catch is frustrating, as the blue perch is pretty rare to see stock readily available for purchase. I just wanted to make you aware first, so you see one in stock, please do buy it. I have to buy them one at a time. It's been 2 years since I last had any. The number of blue perch in circulation is very rare. It used to be found in most aquarium shops, but I think the drawback now is that it's awfully difficult to find. I get asked on what the alternatives are to blue perch. The answer is dwarf loach. As the name suggests, it's a species of the loach family and it's only smaller in form. Dwarf loach is a timid and peaceful type of fish and spends most of its time hiding. Don't be fooled by its looks. It's the ultimate exterminator of pest snails. They're especially good at eating those dreaded translucent snail egg sacs stuck on the glass. They're extremely effective against snails in general, and are a great solution to those plagued with snail issues. They're the perfect fish to have, even when snails are sparse. Moreover, it sports a nice mesh pattern all over its body. Beautiful, hey? Almost like a checkered pattern, making it a very charming and cute fish to have. Although I recommend it, the caveat with dwarf loaches is the price. The stock levels are not so great, and if there is stock, the prices will be higher than the other fish species. I recommend that you buy this fish if you ever come across it. It's a very useful fish to have. It prevents and controls your snail issues. So as an alternative is the cherry barb fish. They are also extremely effective. However, compared to the recommendations, they are hit and miss. One of our customers mentioned that the snails were still visibly present after putting cherry barbs in. So I had to study the behaviors of cherry barbs myself. Here are some of the theories that I have come up with. Snail size could be a factor. The cherry barbs would go for the little ones first and leave the big ones for us to see. I hope this theory makes sense to you. But in my own experience, they did pretty well in combating the snail population. Saw the snail population reduce significantly after putting cherry barbs in. The advantage of having this fish is that it's easier to get and it's very affordable in price. It's a good idea to grab a few cherry barbs as the first choice in combating snails. That way, if they are not effective, then you can move on to more expensive dwarf loaches. I think that's a good approach if you wish to have a natural treatment, so to speak. Anyway, get either of these fishes if you want to get rid of the snails in the shortest possible time. Under good lighting, the cherry barb turns bright red. Overall, a great addition to your livestock. I don't think they're aggressive to other community fish, so long as they're in similar sizes. This is also confirmed by the reports I've received from our customers. The customer also told me that the fish seem to have a rough temper against smaller fish. Customers also reported that they do not go for the majority of the pest snails. In rare cases, some fish may be picky eaters. They may not always eat snails, so if you're worried, buy a few more instead of just buying one cherry barb. Please keep this in mind. I think I've sufficiently covered those caveats. I've got a lot of questions about the 3 kinds of fish. In the case where the snails have been annihilated, you need to supplement their diets so they won't starve. For example, using ADA's AP lineup of fish food. I personally feed once a day with ADA's AP1, 2 and 3. That way, fishes will never starve to death in the event of no snails. The fish may chase around for the food, but don't worry, they won't jump out of the tank. If you're already using frozen foods, and you make the switch to dry food, there's a possibility that the fish won't eat for a while. If you're uncertain, I think it's good to ask about the correct foods at the store. So, there you have it. We've covered preventative and countermeasures in treating snail outbreaks, as well as extermination without any harm. If you carefully understand and prepare for these risks, then you prevent snail booms, even if you have no snail present. There's always a possibility that they'll pop in somehow during the addition of livestock or other means. All snails can be accidentally transferred from one tank to another. Whatever the case, that's okay. Now you've got the controlling measures in place. If the number of snails increase rapidly, it will detract from your overall enjoyment to the aquarium. The last thing you want to see are snails listed everywhere in a competition photo. So it would be good if you take proper measures. Never let your guard down on pest snails. Take my word for it. Please comment below if you'd like to see more on this topic. I hope you'll continue supporting the Wasabi Aquarium channel. If you have any questions about snails, or you'd like us to explain anything else, feel free to submit your comment below. If you found this video useful, I'll gladly appreciate it if you like, share and subscribe to the Wasabi Aquarium channel. Your support helps us produce future videos. Thanks so much for watching.